Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. With all the streams, rivers, lakes that we have in the Ozarks, water quality is always a big topic of discussion, and we brought in Angela DeNovi from the Ozarks Water Watch today to join us on the program. Thanks for being here, Angela.
Thank you.
You came across a really interesting article of late talking about the Tennessee River and microplastics in the river.
Yes.
Kind of alarming to you. Kind of talk about what microplastics are and what you discovered in this article that you're reading.
So the Tennessee River is in the state of Tennessee, mostly in the state of Tennessee, and it's a river that's used for recreation, used for drinking water, and it's a river that I actually studied as part of my college studies and was very familiar with. And I found this article, it kind of hit all the local news there about microplastics being found in very high levels there. In fact, it was named one of the most polluted microplastic rivers in the world. So microplastics are small pieces of plastic measured in under 5 millimeters, which is about the size of a grain of rice. And so this German researcher had actually swam the entire length of the Tennessee River, had a research team with him, and they collected water samples throughout his swim and basically filtered those water samples and found high levels of these really tiny pieces of plastic. And so they can range from 5 millimeters down to being basically microscopic. And so it was alarming to him because he's done this research in Germany and in China. It was alarming to people who live and play and work on the Tennessee River. And it certainly caught my attention because this wasn't an issue I had even heard of before, especially on inland waters. I've heard about it in the oceans, but not on waters inside the continent. And
people here in the Ozarks might think, you know, well, the Tennessee River, what does that have to do with us here in the Ozarks? But as I was reading, there's nothing unique really about the Tennessee River that would, you know, cause this high collection of microplastics. Why is this important for us here in the Ozarks to take note of this?
Right. So when I was putting together the article for our organization newsletter, that was one of my questions was, has there been any research on the White River, which I work on? I didn't find any research. That doesn't mean we don't have plastic in our water. So some of the contributing factors to plastic are wastewater treatment plants discharging to waterways. They've actually found plastic, one research in septic systems on private property. You know, they would go and actually do research on the soils and found plastic there from septic system leachate. Also just trash. Over time, basically microplastics come about over time. If you've got trash out and they just break down and break down and break down and break down. So a lot of the factors, just our use of plastic, and we have, you know, the city of Springfield, we've got Northwest Arkansas, Mountain Home, Arkansas. I mean, we have urban populations that are on these waterways that our activities contribute to the water and the water quality. And so there's not anything really significantly different that would say the Tennessee River is going to have plastic, but the waters in the Ozarks are going to be completely free of plastic. I don't think that that's true. And it's very possible we have plastic in our water. We just need to do the research now on it. There's
kind of talk about what problems having microplastic in the water supply can actually cause.
So there's been a lot of discussion about plastics in the ocean. And in the ocean, in zooplankton, phytoplankton, they've actually found microplastic at the microscopic level, actually inside this plankton. This is at the bottom of the food chain. So fish are going to eat on this. In streams, our macroinvertebrates could be consuming this plastic, which then fish, as they consume those macroinvertebrates, which are the small little bugs that live at the bottom of the stream, they're at the base of the food chain. If they get an algae and the macroinvertebrates eat that algae. So we're seeing microplastics move up the food chain. There's actually been research that has looked at human waste, and we have found microplastics inside of humans already. So there's concern about how it's going to affect us biologically. And then, of course, you know, in our drinking water, there's been a couple of different studies that have looked at bottled water and tap water, and they actually found substantially more in the bottled water than in the tap water. And one of their thoughts was even just the process of opening the cap is releasing microplastics into that bottled water. That's one of their thoughts as one of the contributors for that. So plastics everywhere, and we're going to have to deal with this going forward, and we're going to have to research and learn how it's affecting our environment and affecting us and affecting plants and animals.
This sounds like a story that's not going to be going away anytime soon.
No.
And be sure to let us know when you start hearing test results from rivers and streams here in the area.
Absolutely.
Let us know. We'd love to have you back on the program to
Thank you.
hear those results, because it sounds like we all need to learn more about this, because it could be a big problem in the future. Angela, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this.